If Suleman seeks war, then war he shall have. Let us prepare our armies and march.
Where is Hudhud? He has disobeyed the king's command.
Have you ever heard of a queen, so mysterious, so powerful, that even the mighty Prophet of Allah, Suleman A.S, dealt with her personally? A queen whose throne dazzled the eyes, whose people bowed to the burning sun, and whose name has echoed in legends for centuries. Bilqees, the Queen of Sheba. Some claimed she was not even fully human. Some said she was half Jinn, born of secrets that no one dared to speak aloud. But the story doesn't begin with her throne. It doesn't even begin with a palace. It begins with something far smaller, something almost invisible. A tiny bird, a bird named Hudhud, the hoopoe. And yet, through this small creature, Allah wrote a story that would change the destiny of a kingdom. Allah says in the Quran, نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص بما أوحينا إليك هذا القرآن وإن كنت من قبله لمن الغافلين. We relate to you, O Muhammad, the best of stories in what we have revealed to you of this Quran, although before it you were among the unaware. Surah Yusuf, Suleman, the son of Dawood, a king unlike any other king, a ruler unlike any other ruler. For his armies were not only of men, but of beasts, of birds, of invisible jinn, and even the wind itself carried him wherever he wished to go. It was on one such day, when his mighty army stood assembled in perfect rows, that something strange happened. A whisper went through the ranks of the birds. Something was missing.
Where is Hudhud? Why is he not among us?
The hoopoe was no ordinary bird. He was the eyes of the sky, the one who flew across distant lands, observing what no human could, and returning with intelligence no spy could match. The whispers grew louder as Suleman A.S. approached. He noticed immediately. Where is Hudhud? The Quran narrates his words. وَتَفَقَّدَ الطَّيْرُ فَقَالَ مَا لِي لَا أَرَى الْهُدْهُدْ أَمْ كَانَ مِنَ الْغَائِبِينَ لَأُعَذِّبَنَّهُ عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا أَوْ لَأَذْبَحَنَّهُ أَوْ لَيَأْتِيَنِّي بِسُلْطَانٍ مُبِينٍ. And he inspected the birds and said, Why do I not see the hoopoe? Or is he among the absent? I will surely punish him with a severe punishment, or slaughter him, unless he brings me a clear reason. Surah An-Naml 27:20-21.
Where is Hudhud? He has disobeyed the king's command.
But Hudhud was not wasting time. Far away across deserts and valleys, Hudhud soared until he reached a strange land. Below him stretched the kingdom of Sheba. He tilted his head and asked another bird nearby, What are they doing? The bird replied, They are gathering for worship. They bow not to Allah, but to the sun. Hudhud's tiny heart trembled. He watched as guards lined the streets, soldiers marched in formation, and finally, the queen herself appeared. She stepped down from her throne, her beauty radiant, her authority unquestioned. She raised her hands and bowed before the blazing sun, and the entire nation bowed with her. Hudhud's feathers bristled. A nation of wealth and power, misled by Shaitan. Finally, he entered the Prophet's tent, trembling, head bowed low. He perched quietly, waiting for permission. Then, with a humble voice, he spoke.
I found a powerful Queen Bilqees with an opulent throne, and her people worshipped the sun.
The Quran records this testimony. إني وجدت امرأة تملكهم وأوتيت من كل شيء ولها عرش عظيم وجدتها وقومها يسجدون للشمس من دون الله وزين لهم الشيطان أعمالهم فصدهم عن السبيل فهم لا يهتدون. Indeed, I found a woman ruling over them, and she has been given of everything, and she has a great throne. I found her and her people prostrating to the sun instead of Allah, and Shaitan has made their deeds pleasing to them and averted them from the right path, so they are not guided. Surah An-Naml, chapter 27, verses 23 to 24. Suleman A.S. narrowed his eyes. He would not dismiss this lightly. Soon we shall see if you have told the truth, he declared. Take this letter of mine and deliver it to their queen. Then step aside and observe how she responds. And with that, Hudhud once again stretched his wings and carried with him not just a letter, but the command of a prophet, the message of Allah. Hudhud soared across valleys, deserts, and mountains, clutching the letter of Suleman A.S. in his beak. At last he reached the palace of Sheba. Perched upon a balcony, he slipped quietly into the queen's chamber. There she was, Bilqees, queen of Sheba, resting upon her royal bed. Hudhud hid himself high above the chamber, his beady eyes fixed on the queen. Should he drop the letter now? Should he wait? But before he could decide, the letter slipped from his beak and landed softly upon her bed. The queen stirred, her eyes opened, and there, right before her, a sealed parchment, written with royal authority. She sat up quickly, scanning the room.
Who has entered my chamber?
As she broke the seal, and then she read aloud the words of Prophet Suleman. Innahu min Suleman wa innahu bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alla ta'lu alayya wa'tuni muslimin. It is from Suleman, and it reads, In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Do not exalt yourselves above me, but come to me in submission. An-Naml 27:30-31. Immediately, she summoned her council. Bilqees ascended her throne, a throne described in the Quran as Arshun Azim, a mighty throne. Carved of gold, encrusted with jewels, tall enough to tower over any visitor. The council bowed before her. A murmur spread through the hall. Then, one by one, the generals spoke.
This is nothing but a challenge to your throne. If he wants us to submit, then he wants us defeated. Let us prepare our armies and march.
We are strong, O Queen. We command soldiers, weapons, and fortresses.
If Suleman seeks war, then war he shall have.
Then, Bilqees raised her hand. Silence fell.
Indeed, when kings enter a city, they ruin it, and make the most honored of its people humiliated. And thus they do.
I will not rush into bloodshed. First, we must test this prophet king. Let us send him a gift, one so magnificent, one so priceless, that it will reveal his intentions. If he is a worldly king, he will accept it, and we will know his weakness. But if he rejects it, then we shall understand that his mission is greater than wealth.
The messengers of Sheba set out, with camels loaded with treasures. But what they were about to witness would shake them to their very core. First, they beheld armies unlike any armies they had ever seen. Lions walking in rank beside men, falcons circling above in formation, elephants armored in gold, and within the shadows, shapes moving swiftly, unseen. The Jinn, one of the messengers whispered, trembling.
What army is this? Men and beasts, creatures of the unseen. How can anyone face such a force?
This is but a small part of Suleman's army. Wait until you see the rest.
By the time they reached the gates of Jerusalem, the messengers were no longer confident. They presented the treasures before him, mountains of gold, priceless jewels, dazzling gifts that would have made any king bow with greed. But Suleman, he did not even glance at them. Instead, he spoke with the authority of a prophet, his words preserved forever in the Quran. فَلَمَّا جَاءَ سُلَيْمَانَ قَالَ أَتُمِدُّونَنِ بِمَالٍ فَمَا آتَانِيَ اللَّهُ خَيْرٌ مِّمَّا آتَاكُمْ بَلْ أَنْتُمْ بِهَدِيَّتِكُمْ تَفْرَحُونَ. Solomon said, "Do you offer me wealth? What Allah has granted me is far greater than what He has granted you. No, it is you who rejoice in receiving gifts." Surah Naml, verse 36. Then he sent them back with a harsh warning and said, "Take your treasures with you. Tell your queen, if she does not submit to Allah, I will come to her with forces she cannot withstand." The messengers returned in fear, their gifts rejected, their pride shattered. But Suleman A.S. was not finished. He turned to his council, a gathering of ministers, scholars, warriors, and jinn. "Which of you," he asked, "can bring me her throne before they come to me in submission?" A mighty jinn stood, his voice thundering,
My Majesty, I will bring it to you before you rise from your place.
But another stood, a man, not a jinn, a scholar granted special knowledge from Allah. Tafsir tells us his name was Asif bin Barkia.
Yes, my Majesty, I can bring her throne in the twinkling of an eye.
And in the blink of an eye, there it was, the throne of Bilqees. The Prophet lowered his head in humility and declared, "Hādhā min fadli Rabbi liyabluwani aashkuru am akfur." This is by the favor of my Lord, to test me whether I will give thanks or deny. Surah An-Naml 27:40. He ordered his men, "Disguise her throne, alter it slightly. When she arrives, we shall see. Will she recognize it, or will she fail to see the truth?" At the same time, he commanded his jinn architects, "Build me a palace, not just any palace, a palace upon water. Make its floor of glass, so clear that it looks like the waves of a river flowing beneath." Meanwhile, Queen Bilqees began her journey. Her caravan moved through the desert, soldiers, treasures, and her pride beside her. When she entered Jerusalem, Prophet Suleman greeted her with the calm dignity of a messenger. Pointing toward a magnificent throne, he asked gently, "Is your throne like this?" Bilqees stared in disbelief. It was her own throne, yet different. She realized this was no ordinary ruler. His wisdom and power came from a higher source. Then Suleman led her toward his palace. Beneath her feet, she saw what looked like a flowing river. Thinking it was water, she lifted her gown to step carefully. But Suleman said, "This is not water. It is a palace paved with glass." The truth struck her heart like lightning. All her life, she had bowed to the sun, a mere creation. Now she stood before a prophet of Allah, who ruled by the permission of the Creator himself. Her pride dissolved, her heart softened, and she finally declared, "قالت ربي إني ظلمت نفسي وأسلمت مع سليمان لله رب العالمين." She said, "My Lord, I have indeed wronged myself, and I submit, along with Suleiman, to Allah, the Lord of the worlds." Surah Naml, chapter 27, verse 44. The proud Queen of Sheba, once a symbol of power and mystery, now bowed her head in humility. Her people followed her path. And so, a nation that once worshipped the sun turned toward the light of Tawheed, the worship of the one true God. For centuries, people whispered that Queen Bilqees was half jinn, but the Quran never said so. When she stepped upon Suleiman's palace of glass, the truth was revealed. Her feet were human, her heart filled with faith. She was no myth, but a woman guided by Allah's light. According to Tafsir Ibn Kathir and Al-Qurtubi, Bilqees was a human woman, blessed with wisdom and beauty. The stories of the Quran are not just tales, they are guidance, mercy, and light. If you felt that light today, don't let it stop here. Like, share, and subscribe to Quranic Script and click the bell icon so together we can continue spreading the message of Allah's truth.